Count on LEX18 News.
Tonight, the water is going down after the historic flooding, but the cleanup process is just beginning. Meanwhile, an Estill County family is coming together to help an elderly woman after her home was damaged by floodwaters. And dozens of animals had to be evacuated from the Franklin County Humane Society after high waters damaged the building. LEX18 News at 11 starts now. Good evening, I'm Nancy Cox. Larry Smith is on assignment. Thank you for joining us at 11. Thousands of Kentuckians continue to battle to overcome yet another setback. This time, the massive flooding that is just the latest in a series of issues. In Estill County, the floodwaters are slowly subsiding, marking the beginning of the painstaking process of putting their lives back together again. Larry Smith has more on their progress in the LEX18 Big Story at 11.
With the promise of a new tomorrow comes the hope that residents here can clean up and stores can open up as soon as possible. While the water has visibly receded from just a couple of days ago, you can see where the Kentucky River left its banks and flooded Clear Creek on the other side of Highway 52. The Estill County Fairground remains submerged, though the water's edge no longer reaches the road. Utility crews frantically restoring service, moving as quickly as inspectors will allow them to. Meanwhile, store owners work diligently to replace the flow of sludge from just days ago into a river of revenue.
And we actually worked today outside. We got everything else out today, and as you can tell, we are actually ripping the carpet out, and then we're open again tomorrow.
Any kind of special deals?
Hey, yeah. It's all special at this point in time, you know. Cash and carry, you know.
In all, it's an optimism tinged with a state of shock. Relieved to have survived and determined to push forward, but still having to wade through yet another crisis. Reporting from Irvin and Estill County, Larry Smith, LEX18 News.
If you don't laugh, you cry, I guess. Well, people in Estill County are just starting to assess the damage left behind by the floods. In some cases, the water is still too high to actually get inside. That was the case for the matriarch of a large family in Ravenna. LEX18's Mike Valenti was with that family as they returned to her home for the first time. That continues our Storm Tracker team coverage.
Everybody knows that this is her house. If you mention Helen Walling, they know, I know exactly where she's at.
Affectionately nicknamed the Shady Lot, Helen Walling's house has been a staple in her family for the last 31 years. Built by her late husband, and where her grandson, Jacob Cheney, took some of his first steps.
And seeing it in such a disarray like this, it's totally opposite of what you're used to.
A few days ago, you could hardly see the house. Water was up to the roof. Walling, who lives alone, got out well before that, when the water started rising on Sunday.
You can replace earthly things, but I want to keep my life.
Floods forced her out of her home back in '03, but she was able to come back. Today, she's not sure what the future holds, but right now, that's okay.
I'm getting by. I have the Lord on my side.
Walling is staying with one of her daughters, and she's already started to absorb the hard truth that the house may have to be torn down.
I told her that this is the Shady Lot. The Shady Lot's the Shady Lot no matter what. If it's standing or if it's the house is gone, it's still your Shady Lot.
Knowing that, Walling wants to keep the property and turn it into a picnic area, maybe where future generations of the family can take their own first steps. In Estill County, Mike Valenti, LEX18 News.
Staff at the Franklin County Humane Society are waiting to begin cleanup as the water in the building still hasn't gone down. Earlier this week, nearly 60 dogs and cats had to be evacuated. LEX18's Catherine Collins tells us what this flood damage will mean for the shelter going forward.
Staff here at the Franklin County Humane Society are in a holding pattern.
It is a little overwhelming.
With a few inches of water in the building, shelter manager Carrie Lowry says they have to wait for it to go down to start the cleanup process. On Monday, as the Kentucky River rose, staff and volunteers worked quickly to place 34 dogs and 24 cats into other shelters foster homes and a boarding facility.
It's pretty daunting because that's a lot of animals, and we know that we have to move pretty quickly because once this road gets cut off, we can't have access to the shelter at all.
And that's exactly what's happened. The shelter is about a quarter mile from here, but the high water is so extensive that this is where the road's been closed, and it's as far as we were able to go.
Just to see water all around it, and then to see water in the back where our play yards are, and it was, disheartening to see that.
Board President Sam Marcus was able to get back to the building early Thursday. He says it's clear the cleanup process will be a big job. And it's not the first time the Humane Society has dealt with flooding. Marcus says the shelter's location means it's been hit multiple times by high water.
I think the greatest thing really is to get out of this building and get our new shelter built.
The Humane Society is fundraising to move the shelter to Flynn Avenue, but Marcus says they need the community's support. In the meantime, Lowry says she's glad that cats and dogs are safe.
Really, that is the one thing that we are most grateful for.
In Franklin County, Catherine Collins, LEX18 News.
Many people in Lee County lost everything in the flood. And now that the water has receded, the work has just begun. Tim Brandenburg built this house from the ground up, designing it to be 1 foot higher than the 100-year flood. But on Sunday, Tim and his family had to evacuate their home after the river just kept rising. Once the water receded, the Brandenburg family came back home to find they'd lost everything.
Going in your house and something you keep neat and clean and organized, and seeing all your stuff laying on the floor and upside down, and even things we'd put up high, the entertainment center fell over it.
The mayor of Beattyville says he believes folks will be back and better than ever before. Down in Breathitt County, it's gone from bad to worse. The flooding damaged many of the county's water lines and forced crews to shut them off today. Water, clothing, and non-perishable food have all been donated across Breathitt County, where residents are still reeling from Sunday's storm. People have lost their homes, and many have nowhere to turn.
Estimating about 2,500 people, it's total loss. We were talking vehicles, homes, everything. So, and they have no place to go. There's a lot of them that are sleeping in their vehicles, sleeping in tents, just any place they can find a place to go.
Tomorrow, Congressman Hal Rogers from the 5th District will get his first look at the damage when he makes stops in Jackson, Boonville, and Beattyville. LEX18 and the Red Cross are teaming up for a day-long fundraiser tomorrow to help the victims of this flooding disaster. Kentucky Flood Relief, a virtual telethon on LEX18, will kick off tomorrow morning. It all starts at 6 a.m. on sunrise, and Dia Davidson will have all the ways you can donate.
We've only given you a few of the stories here. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of stories similar to what you've seen, so the need is tremendous for our friends in eastern Kentucky and along the banks of the Kentucky all the way through. All righty, we've got the updated numbers for you on the flooding, and as we've been going through tonight, we are watching these numbers go down, and with it, it's still going to be a long time for the cleanup. Heidelberg has dropped a couple of feet even since 6 o'clock. It is below flood stage. In Ravenna, the gauge actually broke back on Monday. We've been getting some estimated readings, and we had an update earlier today. Haven't gotten a new update for you this evening. Only thing that they're saying is it should fall quickly tonight and go below flood stage then Friday morning. Ford there in Clark County, 34.3 feet. It is falling. Should be below flood stage tomorrow late afternoon. Camp Nelson getting over into Jessamine County, dropping a couple of tenths of a foot. It is falling below flood stage Saturday morning at Highbridge, below flood stage on Saturday morning as well. Frankfort at 40.1 feet. We should crest at 40.2 tomorrow afternoon and then go below flood stage either Saturday night or Sunday. So that's the current setup. It will go away, and dry weather will continue. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Bill Meck, thank you. A 28-year-old Lexington man who was a senior at the University of Kentucky in the College of Nursing was killed in a drive-by shooting early this morning. It happened around 2 a.m. on DePores Avenue off Georgetown Road. Police say 28-year-old Jesse Matthew Averett was rushed to UK hospital after the shooting, but died several hours later. His aunt and uncle say they were stunned to hear the news and that their nephew grew up in Lexington and had been living in that home with a roommate for at least a year. They say he was a good person. His neighbor agrees.
As far as I know, those people were nice people. Didn't bother nobody. Nobody. They come and go to work, I'm assuming, come home. No traffic, no nothing. It's just so sad.
Investigators say a second man who was inside the home at the time of the shooting was not hurt. Police are still looking for the person responsible. If you know anything, give Lexington Police a call. NBC Nightly News told the story of a Fleming County woman who claims a hospital covered up her missed cancer diagnosis. Her Lexington lawyer says since that story aired, he has heard from many people alleging the same problem. In 2015, Kimberly Johnson says the Fleming County Hospital sent her a letter stating her mammogram showed she was cancer-free, when in fact she was not. Another doctor found it nearly a year later. She sued for malpractice and settled out of court. In a second lawsuit, Johnson alleges hospital workers doctored her medical records and even created new ones to cover up their mistake.
It's apparent that this particular type of problem is very frequent, and in fact, I have several other cases where we have discovered similar type of conduct.
The hospital and its new owner declined to comment for the story. The latest COVID-19 numbers in the state continue to show encouraging signs in the fight to end the pandemic. 1,068 new cases of COVID-19 were recorded in the state today, and 28 more people have died after getting the virus. Our positivity rate is now the lowest it's been since October 12th at 4.45%. We are nearing the one-year mark since the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed in Kentucky, and we hope you'll join us Saturday evening at 7 for a special program. LEX18 presents A Year of Loss, Resilience, and Hope, COVID-19 in Kentucky. We'll look back on how the virus has changed all of our lives and how Kentuckians have gotten through the pandemic together. Well, here's one sign of normalcy, possibly. This year's Shamrock Shuffle 3K will be held in person. Runners, walkers, and shufflers may choose to compete in a virtual race from March 13th until the 31st, or attend the in-person race on March 13th. While the event is normally held in downtown Lexington, this year's shuffle will be held at Facing-Timpton. The venue change allows for social distancing. The 3K benefits Lexington Habitat for Humanity. And to register, we have a link on LEX18.com. Tonight, the Senate opens up debate on the $1.9 trillion COVID relief form. Some Republican lawmakers want to slow down the process. That story is coming up when LEX18 News at 11 returns.
After the sunny day today, it's a beautiful night across the city. Kind of doesn't tell the whole story, though, because if you've walked outside at all, you know it's pretty doggone chilly. Now, the flooding, it's holding on a little bit longer. The new forecasts keep pushing the time of leaving flood stage a little further down the road. Now, it will eventually leave. It will. The cleanup will continue, though. In the 8-day, the first half of the 8-day looks more like February. We've got some pretty brisk numbers coming in here for your weekend. But the latter half looks more like late March. Maybe some thunderstorms even roll in as well. But that also comes with our first rain, which is the end of next week. We're talking severe weather awareness this week. We're going to talk about ice. And not the freezing rain kind that started all this whole mess. No, we're going to talk about the stuff that comes from thunderstorms, hail, and why it can be severe. Why the flooding has happened. And I think this map really helps tell the tale. Because if you know this area here of eastern Kentucky, we're seeing all those blues and these numbers that are 200+%. That means double to almost 3 times the normal amount of rain. And that's over a 30-day period, except most of this fell within a weekend, last weekend. But this entire area is the headwaters of the Kentucky River. So again, we're putting double to almost triple the amount of rain over the course of a weekend. and all these things flow down the different forks of the Kentucky. They all meet at Beattyville and then work their way downstream. Well, that's why the flooding problems have been what they have been. But this is the best chart we can show you, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no rain. That's terrific. Even by Wednesday, it's only a small chance, and Thursday's even a chance as well. We don't really become likely with the rain until Friday or Saturday. Temperatures around the Bluegrass tomorrow are going to be brisk. This again more like February. Versailles 47, Cynthiana comes in at 47, Richmond looking at a 46. Eastern Kentucky, again, those mid-40s are common. Flemingsburg at 45, same in Moorhead. We head to the southeast, and you're starting to push 50 in a few places like Manchester, actually getting there in Barberville and around the lakes. It's that 50-degree number that's pretty common, Somerset and Monticello, Whitley City, although Stanford looks at a 45. So what's going on is high pressure is building in from the north. It's Canadian, it's cold, but what it's also doing is pushing that storm to the south. We saw this exact same pattern with the last system that went by. It went by to our south, so no worries there. In fact, not much in the way of even clouds for us over the coming few days, and this pattern should be repeating as the overall flow. We keep that northerly flow in place, we're going to stay cold. We also stay dry, and by Sunday it's almost coming from due north to south. But it does change after that, with that southwest flow coming in as we get you into the middle of next week. That will eventually bring in the warmer air, and you'll see that coming up in the 8-day, how everything correlates. Right now it is getting cold. Most folks are getting to around freezing, including right now in Lexington, right at 32 at the Bluegrass Airport, but a 56-degree high. But that wind chill is nasty as cold air is pumping in at 21 miles an hour. So we've got here on hail size. This is what delineates a severe thunderstorm. It must be quarter size or bigger, so 1 inch. When it starts getting up to the golf ball and tennis ball size, that is really nasty stuff. With a little pea-size hail, doesn't count as severe weather. Cold tonight, 24. The winds will eventually die down. Brisk tomorrow, mid-40s, but the sun will feel good. Here's what your 8-day looks like. Mid-40s Saturday, cold again on Sunday, but it does warm up next week. And more LEX18 news after this.
Welcome back. New at 11, Kentucky State Police are investigating a shooting in Rockcastle County. It happened on Sand Hill before 1:30 this morning. Troopers say they were notified of a domestic violence complaint involving a man and a woman. During the investigation, it was determined Joshua Little shot the man once in the torso. He was taken to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Charges have not been filed. The Senate got the ball rolling on President Biden's massive COVID relief bill today. Vice President Kamala Harris broke the tie this afternoon to kick off a debate on the $1.9 trillion legislation. But it will be a long night because Republicans are expected to try to slow the process in multiple ways, including reading the entire 628-page bill on the Senate floor. That's expected to take up to 10 hours before senators start proposing amendments, which can add even more time. The bill follows similar priorities as the one that has already passed in the House, with some differences. The Senate version would not raise the minimum wage, and fewer Americans would be eligible for the next round of stimulus checks.
The Kentucky Wildcats begin postseason play today with the women starting their SEC tournament run with a victory. Highlights and reaction from South Carolina ahead in sports. This is March. Postseason action has arrived for Kentucky women's basketball. Survive and advance is the name of the game, and thankfully the Cats live to see another day. Kentucky is 6-2 all time against Florida in the SEC tournament and beat the Gators earlier in the season 88-80. Now, Ryan time is usually reserved for the fourth quarter, but today Howard set the tone early. Hit the three from the corner. Off the inbounds, the assist by Robin Benton here. When she's got it going, just give her the rock and get out of the way. Another three for Howard. Ryan scored 10 of her first half, 16 points. Cats led 33-32 at half. However, Florida kept hanging around, and Kiki Smith was the reason why. She played out of her mind with a career-high 36 points and added 8 rebounds. Gators led by 3 heading into the fourth, but UK went on a 14-4 scoring run in the final 3 minutes. Kiki McKinney from deep. She had 10 points, 8 rebounds. Howard back at it again. Drives, scoop shot, foul. She was in her bag as if she was shopping at the Fayette Mall. A team-high 27 points, 6 boards, and 4 steals. Treasure Hunt, the freshman guard, played a crucial role in this game down the stretch. She did it all. 9 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Her best game as a Wildcat by far. UK wins 73-64 to advance to Friday's quarterfinal game against 4th-seeded Georgia, their 12th consecutive season playing in the SEC quarters. Kentucky won the rebound battle 38-37 despite giving up 13 offensive boards in the first half. The Cats also edged the Gators with points in the paint, 38-34.
We knew we couldn't get down. We were losing by only a couple points, I think. So we knew we had to, come back together and keep the energy that we had in the first half and stay poised and stay focused.
We've talked about it all year, our bench. They are the X factors that are going to have to step up and make plays. So Blair Green coming in, scoring Treasure, Robin Benton, Dre. So those are the X factors that we are going to have to step up if we want to make a run.
Just like Morehead State yesterday, a late tip-off, 10:30 to be exact, for EKU men as they take on Austin Peay in the OVC tournament. At last check, the game was tied at 24-all in the first half. The winner of that game will have the luxury of playing Morehead State Friday as the Eagles advanced into the semifinals of the OVC tournament last night with a 61-54 win over Southeast Missouri. Eagles guard Talon Cooper tied his career high with 17 points, and OVC Freshman of the Year, Janai Broom, added a double-double, 14 points and 11 boards. NSU is now 21-7 this season, giving them the 4th most wins in school history.
I told our guys that the battles that we've been through down the stretch, those games that you and I just mentioned, that they were going to pay off for us, because once you get to Evansville, the top 8 teams, there aren't too many blowout games. Everybody's good, everybody's battle tested, and there's going to be close games, and the teams that have the experience and the confidence to win those are going to be the ones that come out victorious.
We'll be right back.
We're only a few days out of February, so you probably still know where your heavy coat is. You're going to need it in the morning. Temperatures will be in the mid-20s getting the day started. Lots of sunshine, but the thermometer doesn't respond a whole lot. We'll be in the mid-40s tomorrow afternoon, and it's going to be one of those days. You're standing out there in the sun, it'll feel pretty good. There's not going to be a whole lot of wind. But once you get in the shade or that sun starts going down, 46 starts feeling like 46. It'll stay that way through the weekend as well. So enjoy. Nancy?
All right, Bill, thank you. And thanks for watching. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon is coming up next.
LEX18, it's about time we fit into your schedule. Streaming local news 24/7. Search for LEX18 on your device.